Welcome to Whadda Day, your daily update from camp.
It's Tuesday, July 30th, and this is Whadda Day.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Sunshine.
I'm Chelster.
I'm Cheerio.
And we're doing a little bit of a different Whadda Day today because we're going to be sharing with you something that we did at Assembly this morning with our campers. But I wanted to take a moment to introduce you to two amazing people who have been at GAC for a long time. Chelster, tell a little bit about your history and how long you've been here at GAC.
All right. Well, I've been here. This is my 31st year at camp, which sounds like a long time, and it is, but I wouldn't change it for the world. I love being here at camp and being with your campers. And so my history starts pretty far back, and then my parents met at Gold Arrow in the 60s, and they both worked here for 5 years, and they love coming back and reminiscing about their years at Gold Arrow. And then I was a camper for a month one summer and absolutely loved it. And then I came back when I was in college and haven't left, and I really enjoy my job. And my kids both have grown up going to camp, and my daughter's on staff now. My son's graduating camper. So long history with camp, which is wonderful.
I'm not sure if you said that this is your 31st summer
at
camp.
Yep.
And boy, you have talked to thousands and thousands of kids over those years. And I think one of the things that we really appreciate about you is that you have really focused on helping all of our first year families.
Yes.
And getting to know them before camp and then just kind of nurturing their kids through the experience, which has been an amazing, amazing thing.
Yeah.
So I know we all appreciate you.
Oh,
and
thank you. Thank you.
Yes. And Cheerio, welcome. Cheerio, you've been here for how many years?
11 years.
11 years.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about your background, what you have done outside of camp.
Outside of camp, I was a teacher, so I taught second grade, kindergarten, and students with intellectual disabilities. And I started as a counselor here when I was 19, and I haven't left since.
And we are so excited because this is actually the start. You've been here at camp this is your 11th summer working at camp, but we are so excited to welcome you to our full year-round, full-time year-round team. And we especially appreciate your experience with kids with differences and behavioral needs, and all of your, you have been so helpful with that over the years, so we're super appreciative of you being here.
Thank you.
So anyway, I just wanted to make sure that everybody met these amazing people who work with your kids here at camp, work with all the counselors, and really know everything that's going on day to day here at camp. And now we would like to share with you what's happening today.
So today is International Day, so anybody from other countries outside of America have been celebrating and getting to know each other. We have cabins 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25 going to Shaver. And then cabin 1 is going backpacking, and we have the Eagle Social tonight.
Awesome. Why don't you tell us what's on the menu today?
All right, so breakfast, French toast, sausage, and hard-boiled eggs. Smelled so good on the dining porch this morning. Lunch, ciabatta sandwiches and chips, and of course all the other options we have on our dining porch. And then dinner, of course, Taco Tuesday.
Woo!
Wouldn't be the same without tacos on a Tuesday. So really yummy stuff, and then of course marshmallows and popcorn in the evening for our campers, which obviously is their favorite. So
yes,
it's a good lineup of food today.
Absolutely. So we will now share with you this morning's assembly where we learned about flipping our lids. So enjoy. Good morning, everybody. Okay, so Cheerio and I have 3 different friendship things that we do over a session at camp, and today is perhaps my favorite one. So we all have learned so far that filling buckets is good, yes? Yeah. Dipping buckets? No. Not so good, not so good. So one of the ways that we dip into other people's buckets is when we say or do something that we regret after. Has this ever happened to anyone out there? Have you ever afterwards? Just let's admit it, let's all admit it here. Raise your hand if you've ever in your entire life said or done something that afterwards you're like, oh, I wish I hadn't done. Oh wow, everybody. Well, that's because you're human. Congratulations. This is also a question. Have you ever had anyone, like an adult, like say or do something that dipped into your bucket? Okay, yeah. So unfortunately, this is part of life. We want to focus mostly on filling each other's buckets, but occasionally someone dips into our bucket or we dip into other people's buckets because we say or do something that we really didn't mean. So there's this really smart guy who's studied all about the brain and why this happens. His name is Dr. Dan Siegel, and he has a really cool YouTube video about the hand model of the brain that you can all go home and show to your families in case they've ever experienced this incident, which actually happens to everybody. So we're going to talk about the brain model and flipping our lids. So let's all put up our hands just like Cheerios. So this, when you look at your hand, when it's in a fist like that, that's called the hand model of the brain. It's a really easy way to understand what's going on in our brains when we do things that we regret later. So here's a brain just happily plugging along in the day, happy as can be, happy as can be, happy as can be. And then the brain happens upon something that upsets it. Maybe someone trips you accidentally. Oh no, what has happened to Cheerios' brain? She's flipped her lid. That's what we call it. When you suddenly kind of feel like you've lost it, you can no longer control what's going on, you have flipped your lid. So what's happened is this little thing right here, her thumb, that is this tiny thing, this shape of an almond inside your brain. It's called the amygdala. You don't need to remember that name, but you do need to remember all your feelings and emotions are in that spot right there. So it's also, you can call it your fight or flight or freeze, if you've heard that before. So that is everything that you feel is right there in that little tiny thing in the middle of your brain. So this part, the top part, that's your frontal lobe, like behind your forehead. That's the part that thinks really clearly about stuff, can organize things, make lists of to-dos, think about writing a nice wow to a friend. All that good thinking stuff happens right there. So what happens when we flipped our lid is something happens and we've disconnected the thinking part from the feeling part, and that's when we do stuff that we're like, uh-oh, this is not good. Okay, so we need to think about one of the ways that we're going to make sure we don't dip as much into other people's buckets is figuring out ways we can not flip our lid, or we can stop ourselves once our lid has been flipped. So I'd like to invite any campers or staff down here. You can line up right here. If you have an idea of a way you can stop flipping your lid, come on down here. Just come on down to the stage right here. We want all your ideas. Just come on down. So this is great. We really appreciate you sharing because people out here can also learn good techniques. Wow, we have a lot of expert people at what to do when we flipped our lid. Okay, so let's hear some of the ideas of what we can do when we flipped our lid or we want to not flip our lid, even better. Go ahead.
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Hudson.
And
breathing beads.
Yeah, these are breathing beads. My counselor has them on her bottle. And every time you need a deep breath, you just move a bead.
I'm Stephanie, and I use different breathing techniques.
I'm Olivia, and sometimes I just go into another room where it's really quiet and just regulate.
My name is Maya, and I usually just take a deep breath and pretend it never happened. My name is Parker, and I usually read a book or take some deep breaths. My name is Charlotte, and I usually just think about ways that maybe can make my day better. I maybe just say something nice to them and see what's wrong, or maybe I could help them. I'm Brandon. Just go to bed.
Oh, snap.
I'm Esther. I'm Piper. And you should take 5 deep breaths and then just walk away. And since they're trying to annoy you, don't let them annoy you. I'm JP, and I try to work out the solution by taking deep breaths.
Awesome.
I'm Calliope, and I just take deep breaths and walk away and forget about it. I'm Dylan, and I just,
Do you want to come back to you? Okay.
my name is Allie, and so, I just take deep breaths. and like try to figure it out.
Very good. Thank you. Ready? Okay, Dylan's ready.
My name's Dylan and I just count to 3.
Very good. Counting is so good. Wow, you guys are incredible. Let's give a big round of applause to all these kids who have helped us solve the problem of flipping our lid. Okay, so a couple things to point out. Who said the sleep one? That was you? Okay, so this is really important. Sometimes what's happening with our bodies makes us flip our lid. So have you ever heard of the term hangry?
Yes.
You know, okay. So can anyone describe what it means when you're hangry and why that's happening?
Maybe because your body feels really tired, or just you didn't get enough sleep last night or something, and you need to just take a rest and recharge.
Absolutely, you're right. Wait, you ready?
Yeah. You're hungry or angry at the same time.
Yes.
Like he said, you're hungry and you're angry.
Yes, and so together they say hangry. So one thing actually that's really good, like you guys notice, if you can just figure out and identify what's going on, like say you're feeling, this happens to me sometimes, I'm just feeling really irritated about something really small, and I think for a moment, why am I so irritated about this really small thing? And then I think, oh, maybe I didn't eat lunch yet, or maybe I need more sleep at night because I'm getting a little bit irritable. So it's really good, you guys, to keep in touch with just how your body is feeling, because that helps you make sure you don't flip your lid. Okay, thanks you guys so much for joining us today. So two final thoughts for you guys about flipping your lid. So number one, when someone flips their lid at you, like you're the victim of someone else's lid flipping, just rest assured that it's their issue with their flipping the lid, right? Even when adults may do this to you. And little hint, we've had some campers who've gone home and brought breathing beads to their whole family. So you guys can do that. You can bring home breathing beads. If you want to make a set of breathing beads in your cabin, let Cheerio know, and she can deliver in your mailbox all the supplies you need to make breathing beads that you can make your set of your very own. All the counselors know how to make them. They're really easy. They take like 5 or 10 minutes. And then you can go home and teach everyone at home how to make breathing beads. So again, it's their issue if someone flips their lids. Point number 2, as you just learned from all these campers, is there are things that you can do to help yourself when you're feeling that way. And so we're hoping that during the second week of camp, we can all really focus on all the great ways that we can make sure to not flip our lids or to recover when we have flipped our lids. So thanks for listening. Be sure to share, and let's try to keep our lids unflipped as much as possible this week. What do you say? Let's unflip lids for session 3.
Don't forget, out there in the world, to have fun, make friends, and grow.